Kurt Busch says the barriers are down, and that's why the younger drivers are succeeding. Let's talk about it. Coming up next. What is going on, everybody? If I haven't earned your subscription, hopefully today is the day I will earn that subscription. All right, Kurt Busch came out and said the barriers are down. That is why the younger drivers are being successful this season. Of course, if you're not familiar with what we're talking about here, the last 6 Cup drivers have all been under the age of 30, including 3 first-time winners. So let's take a look at what he had to say. This article coming from John Newby at The Heavy. The 2004 NASCAR Cup Series champion just provided some more important insight. 23XI Racing's Kurt Busch explained why young drivers are excelling in recent races with an unprecedented trend. Busch provided the insight during a brief interview with PRN. He explained that the barriers are down for younger drivers, which helps them better adjust to the new cars. He specifically mentioned the rise in drivers using simulators, virtual platforms, and ways to prepare for races, making a major change from the early days of his Cup career. The youth side of it is easier now because the barriers are down, the opportunities are there, Busch explained. Simulation work is taking up more and more of the prep time, and that's something that you have to adapt to as a veteran. We used to have 2 hours of practice, and we could get our cars dialed in through sets of tires. We now have 20 minutes. You got to have all your homework done before you show up, and now is the test. The test starts with 20 minutes of practice, qualifying, and then a 4-hour race. It's very different now. And I think he brings up a very good point here. I think if you look specifically at a guy like Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick, what they always excelled at was practice. There's probably no one better at giving feedback in a race car. So when you take away those 2-hour practices, the actual hard data of them sitting in the race car and getting a feel for what it's doing, and going through those sets of tires and seeing how they fall off and all that, I think you took away basically a really huge skill that those two guys had by giving feedback. As we saw during the, everything going on situation last year, where Kyle Busch got no practice, he looked probably as off as he's ever looked in his career. And now, even with just a 20-minute practice, you've seen Kyle Busch get better and better compared to how he ran last season. He's currently top 10 in points. Last season he struggled very much until he figured the whole deal out. That, of course, is not the case with the younger drivers who have been brought up in this system of simulation racing. They've been doing sim racing well before they ever got to the Cup Series, so they are used to that process, whereas some of the veterans probably sort of brushed it off and just they were taking their 2-hour practice, and that's what they were really focusing on. Well, when you took that 2-hour practice away, then all of a sudden they have to, readjust and focus on this simulator time. So some of them might not ever, come around to figuring out how to translate that simulator work into the actual race car, because they just haven't had as many repetitions with it, whereas these younger drivers have had so many more repetitions. So in an odd way, the younger generation has more experience with setting a car up through a simulator than the older guys do. So it's sort of a upside down, topsy-turvy deal. But I think this season you'll see the younger guys have the biggest advantage, because after this season, or even halfway through this season, once the veterans get used to setting up a car through the simulator and stuff like that, I think you'll see it start to even out, and you'll see some of the veterans turn it around. I fully expect to see guys like Martin Truex, Kurt Busch, Kevin Harvick run really well at Richmond. So I think it will eventually turn itself around. But I think Kurt Busch definitely hit the nail on the head here. I think when you took away the practice, you gave the actual physical practice and went to simulation-style practices. I think you put the ball directly in the court of, the younger drivers. Speaking of younger drivers and the next race being at Richmond, typically a Joe Gibbs track. Last year during this time, Martin Truex won the race. So let me know down in the comments who you think will win the Richmond race. Will it be, let's just go from Joe Gibbs Racing real quick. You think it'll be one of the veterans at Joe Gibbs Racing, or will it be the young guy Christopher Bell? Christopher Bell has always run good at Richmond. So I think if the win comes from JGR, which I'm not saying it will Christopher Bell get this win with the new trend of younger drivers being winners? Or will it be, a veteran from the JGR camp, like a Truex, like a Hamlin, like a Kyle Busch? Me personally, I like this track being like a Kyle Busch or Martin Truex win here. Possibly Denny Hamlin, if he can get off Twitter for a minute or two. He released another spicy take on the Le Mans situation, but I feel like I've talked about Denny Hamlin enough this week. So if you want to see what he had to say about Le Mans, go check out Eric Estep's channel, because I can't talk about Denny Hamlin 5 times this week. I just can't do it. So all right, that's all I got for you today. Let me know down in the comments what you think. And if you like the content, please feel free to subscribe down below. And other than that, thanks for your time. Peace.